Alright, so this is the Wiki reading for the Katamari video game. Katamari is a Japanese video game franchise created by Kaito Katahashi and developed and published by Namco and subsequently Bandai Namco Entertainment. The series puts the players in control of a young character called the Prince, also referred to as Dashing Prince, or the Prince of all Cosmos, as he assists his father, the King of all Cosmos, in the recreation of stars and planets by using a ball called a Katamari to roll up objects. The first title in the series was Katamari Damacy for PlayStation 2, which became a cult classic and led several sequels and spin-offs. Concept: Kaito Katahashi, the series creator, did not go into coding originally. He created cheerful, bizarre sculptures when he was a student at Masashino Art University. This inspired Takahashi to entertain audiences with his creations and decided to join Namco as a visual artist. He wanted to create a game where the players could do something they can only do in a game or create something that is non-formulaic. Okay, I'm gonna look up his You just texted me, I love you. Okay, we're gonna search up, Kaito, yes, he does a lot of sculptures, it says, so we'll look for those. Huh. Okay. There's a goat with some flowers coming out of it. I'll put that as one of the things, because I know you like that. He's done a lot of stuff that does look a lot like, like the creatures that wouldn't seem too far out from being in Katamari or Watam. So, yeah. Ooh, that's actually quite big. The goat one. Anyway, gameplay and setting. In most Katamari games, players typically control the player character, the Prince, as he is ordered to do various tasks by his father, the King of all Cosmos. In Katamari Damacy, the Prince is tasked with the job of rebuilding the stars and constellations that the King destroyed. To do this, the player combines as many objects into a singular ball, known as a Katamari ball, that could become a star, constellations, or stardust. A Katamari ball can roll up certain objects depending on the Katamari's relative size to them. Players typically control the Katamari ball using 2 analog sticks. Players move forward and backwards by pushing the analog stick in that direction simultaneously. They can turn the Katamari by pushing only one stick in the desired direction or pushing the sticks in opposite directions to do so faster, often described as taking controls. Players may also do a 180 degree that causes the Prince to jump on the other side of the Katamari, typically by pressing the 2 sticks down into the controller. Players may also cause the Katamari to roll at high speeds, typically by rapidly rolling the 2 sticks in opposite directions, back and forth. Players may also cause the Prince to jump and get a better look at the world by pressing L1. Introduced in Katamari Forever, players are given the ability to call the prince hop, and make the Katamari ball hop. Before each level, the king will often go on a nonsensical rant to the prince and refers to himself as loyal we, using royal we. In Make a Star levels, players are presented with a specific size that the Katamari must be before the time limit runs out. As the player rolls up objects using the Katamari, it becomes larger and demonstrated by a size chart on the HUD. In early levels of the game, players are given a Katamari similar to the prince's size, which follows him to only roll up small objects such as tacks or ants. Later levels allow the Katamari to grow much larger to the point where it can be rolling up buildings, clouds. As the Katamari becomes larger, the Katamari is then able to pick up larger objects. Living and non-living creatures will sometimes attack the Katamari if it is smaller than them. Once the Katamari reaches a certain size, the creature may run away from the large Katamari that could pick them up. If the Katamari is only barely able to pick up the creature, the player, along with the Katamari, will be knocked away. If the creature is not rolled up in time, the creature will run off and escape. If players are attacked or crushed into walls or other large objects, the Katamari will lose items. If players roll up a long, slender object, such as a pencil or an object, it will sometimes poke outward out of the Katamari and cause the Katamari to roll awkwardly until more objects are rolled up. In more recent games, players can hit a glowing pillar that causes all items close to the Katamari that are small enough to be sucked up into it. As players reach a certain size milestones, the king will appear in the middle of the screen and speak to the player. In some levels, this will precede a cutscene alerting players that a new area has opened up. If players fail to reach this size in the time allotted, they are scolded and punished by the king. If players are able to reach the required size before the time limit runs out, they may continue making it bigger. At the end of the stage, players are judged on their size as well as the time it took to reach the size required. If they only barely exceed the size required, the king criticizes the player and tells them to do better. If they manage to exceed it by a significant enough margin, the king praises the player. If it is the player's first completion of the level, the king automatically transforms it into a star. If it is not, they are asked if they would like to turn it into a star or into stardust. Additionally, if they reach the size fast enough, a shooting star will be unlocked for the star, as an additional reward found in some of the games. Players may be allowed to play a specific level without a time limit, which allows them to then play indefinitely. Not all levels follow this format. For example, some do not have a timer and instead require players to do a certain task, such as rolling a snowball to a certain size and putting it on a snowman. Some levels also require players to pick up a specific item, such as a cow or bear, where players are tasked with rolling up the largest of that specific animal. Each level is presented on a stage select screen and can be replayed multiple times after being completed. Each level also typically has 2 specific objects in them. One of the prince's many cousins, whom after obtaining can be used either in multiplayer or single player, depending on the game. The other is a royal present, which, after obtaining, may be used as an accessory for the prince or cousins. The game can keep record of every item rolled up, and the player may view them in a book. which shows specific categories of items and the percentage, showing how complete the catalog for each category. 2 players may play competitively or cooperatively together in the cooperative mode. Players are tasked with sharing control of the Katamari together, with one player controlling one half of controlling the Katamari, while the other player controls the other in stages that resemble single-player mode. The competitive mode puts 2 players against each other as they compete in an arena-like setting to get the largest size Katamari. If one grows large enough, it can roll up the other player's Katamari. Both modes are played with a timer. There's Katamari Damacy and We Love Katamari for the PlayStation 2. There is Me and My Katamari for the PlayStation Portable, Katamari Damacy for mobile phones. There's Beautiful Katamari for Xbox 360, Katamari Damacy Kun and Rolling with Katamari for mobile phones. I Love Katamari for iOS, Windows, phone, and Android. Korigashi Puzzle Katamari Damacy for DSiWare, Katamari Forever for PlayStation 3, Oi Katamari Damacy Kun for mobile phones, Katamari Damacy and More for iOS, Katamari Damacy Mobile Plus for Android, Touch My Katamari for PlayStation Vita, Katamari Damacy Mobile 2 for iOS, Tap My Katamari and Amazing Katamari Damacy for iOS and Android, Katamari Damacy Reroll for Nintendo Switch PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Stadia Google. We Love Katamari Damacy Reroll plus Royal Revelry for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. The first game released in the series was Katamari Damacy, which was released for the PlayStation 2 on March 18th, 2004 in Japan. Due to the critical and commercial reception it received, Bandai Namco followed it up with the 2005 sequel, also for the PlayStation 4, titled We Love Katamari. It focused closely in the style of its predecessor, but with new environments and slightly improved physics. A sequel was made in 2006 for the PlayStation Portable, titled Me and My Katamari, which used a different scenario and different gameplay, which required players to utilize the D-pad for analog knob and the face buttons in absence of dual analog sticks, used in most Katamari games. In 2007, the first mobile version of Katamari was released, Katamari Damacy Mobile. The phone game utilizes both tilt controls as well as more traditional controls. Another sequel, Beautiful Katamari, marked the first major Katamari title to be released for a non-PlayStation console, as well as the first to support high-definition televisions, resolution 780p, 1080i, and 1080p. While initially planned for both PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, the former version was cancelled. PlayStation 3 players had to wait until 2009 for a Katamari game. Katamari Forever was mostly a compilation of levels from previous games, with a new story and a few new levels. Touch My Katamari was released in 2012 exclusively for the PlayStation Vita. Tap My Katamari, a version for mobile devices with iOS Plus or Android, was released in January 2016. Katamari Damacy Reroll is a remake of Katamari Damacy for Nintendo Switch and PC, released in December 7th, 2018, for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on November 20th, 2022. Now it's just 2020. We Love Katamari Damacy Reroll Plus, Royal Revelry, is a remake of We Love Katamari Dynasty. For Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC, released on June 2nd, 2023. I have the one on Switch. The remake of the first game. I should have you know what? It was probably good that I got that one then. If it's the first game remade. Yeah. And I'll try to put these videos out daily if I can, if I have the time. I got done with my homework at like 9, and I'll try to edit this. So good night.